In the heart of bustling New York City, Sarah Johnson sat in her dimly lit apartment, surrounded by ancient texts and modern technology. Her fingers danced across her keyboard as she delved deeper into a world hidden from most eyes. Little did she know, her life was about to change forever. A knock at the door startled her. Sarah hesitated, then opened it to find a mysterious package. Inside was an old, leather-bound book with a note, "The truth you seek lies within. Be careful who you trust." As she opened the book, a chill ran down her spine. The pages spoke of beings beyond human comprehension, the Archons, cosmic wardens, who controlled reality itself. Sarah's mind raced, connecting dots between these ancient writings and the unexplained phenomena she'd been researching. "Could it be?" she whispered, her heart pounding. "Have we been living in a cosmic prison all along?" Suddenly, her computer screen flickered. Strange symbols flashed across it, forming a message. "They know you're onto them. Run." Sarah's world spun. She grabbed the book and her laptop, rushing out of her apartment. As she reached the street, a black SUV screeched to a halt beside her. A man in a suit stepped out, his eyes hidden behind dark glasses. "Ms. Johnson," he said, his voice unnaturally calm. "We need to talk about what you've discovered." Sarah's instincts screamed danger. She clutched the book to her chest and ran, disappearing into the crowded streets of New York. The hunt was on, and the line between reality and cosmic conspiracy had never been so blurred. Little did Sarah know, her journey to expose the Archons among us had only just begun. Sarah's heart raced as she weaved through the crowded streets of Manhattan, the mysterious book clutched tightly to her chest. She ducked into a small, dimly lit coffee shop, hoping to catch her breath and gather her thoughts. As she settled into a corner booth, an elderly man with piercing blue eyes approached her table. "You've opened Pandora's box, my dear," he said softly, sliding into the seat across from her. Sarah tensed, ready to bolt, but something in the man's gentle demeanor made her pause. "Who are you?" she whispered. "Call me Ezekiel," he replied, his eyes twinkling. "I've been waiting for someone like you to come along. Someone brave enough to seek the truth." Ezekiel leaned in closer, his voice barely audible above the cafe's ambient noise. "The beings you've discovered, the Archons, they're mentioned in the Book of Daniel, you know. The ancients called them watchers." Sarah's eyes widened. "Like guardian angels?" Ezekiel chuckled softly. "Oh, if only it were that simple. They were meant to be messengers, guardians of humanity. But power corrupts, even in the celestial realms." As Ezekiel spoke, Sarah noticed two men in dark suits enter the cafe, their eyes scanning the room. Her pulse quickened. "We need to leave," Ezekiel said urgently, noticing her distress. He led her through the kitchen and out a back door into a narrow alley. As they hurried through the labyrinth of New York's back streets, Ezekiel continued his explanation. "The Watchers rebelled, Sarah. They chose to rule rather than serve. Now they manipulate our reality, keeping us trapped in a prison of illusion." Sarah's mind reeled. "But why? What do they want?" Ezekiel's face grew somber. "Control, my dear. They feed on our ignorance, our fear. But knowledge." He tapped the book in Sarah's arms. "Knowledge is the key to our cage." As they rounded a corner, Sarah gasped. The men in suits stood before them, blocking their path. Ezekiel squeezed her hand reassuringly. "Remember, Sarah," he whispered. "Not all is as it seems in this world. Trust your inner light." With that, Ezekiel stepped forward to face their pursuers, leaving Sarah to wonder if she had found an ally or stumbled into an even deeper mystery. Sarah watched in awe as Ezekiel faced the suited man, his frail form suddenly radiating an otherworldly presence. "Gentlemen," he said, his voice resonating with unexpected authority, "you have no power here." The air shimmered, and for a brief moment, Sarah glimpsed something beyond the physical. The men's forms flickered, revealing inhuman silhouettes beneath their suits. Her mind reeled, struggling to process what her eyes were seeing. "Run, Sarah," Ezekiel commanded. "Find the truth." Without hesitation, Sarah bolted down a side alley, her heart pounding. As she ran, the world around her seemed to warp and shift. Buildings stretched impossibly tall. Shadows moved against the flow of light, and she could have sworn she saw eyes blinking from within the walls themselves. Gasping for breath, she ducked into an abandoned warehouse. As she leaned against a rusty pillar, the book in her arms began to glow faintly. Hesitantly, she opened it, and a holographic display sprang to life before her eyes. "Welcome, Seeker," a disembodied voice echoed. "You have taken the first step towards liberation." The hologram showed Earth, but not as Sarah had ever seen it. A shimmering web of energy encased the planet, pulsing with an eerie light. "This is the veil," the voice explained. "The Archons construct that keeps humanity trapped in a false reality. But every prison has its weaknesses." The image zoomed in, revealing hairline fractures in the energy web. These are moments of awakening, when humans glimpse the truth behind the illusion. "Your research, Sarah, has created new cracks in their system." Suddenly, the warehouse door burst open. The suited men entered, their forms shifting between human and something terrifyingly alien. "You cannot escape," one of them growled, his voice distorting. "The prison is perfect." Sarah's mind raced, recalling Ezekiel's words. "Trust your inner light," he had said. In that moment of desperation, she closed her eyes and looked within, sensing a spark of divine essence that the Archons couldn't touch. As she focused on that inner light, the world around her began to change. The warehouse melted away, revealing a vast, cosmic landscape. The suited men howled in frustration as their forms dissipated like smoke. Sarah found herself floating in a sea of stars, the book now a swirling vortex of energy in her hands. She realized with startling clarity that the true prison wasn't physical, it was a prison of the mind. And she had just found the key to her cell. "Well done, Seeker," the voice from the book said. "But remember, waking up is just the beginning. The real challenge lies ahead." As the cosmic vision faded and Sarah found herself back in a warehouse, she knew her journey to expose the Archons and free humanity had only just begun. The path ahead was uncertain, but for the first time, she felt truly awake. Sarah blinked, her eyes adjusting to the dim light of the warehouse. The cosmic vision had faded, but a newfound sense of purpose burned within her. She clutched the book tightly, its energy pulsing in sync with her heartbeat. A soft groan caught her attention. In the corner, Ezekiel stirred, looking battered but alive. Sarah rushed to his side, helping him to his feet. "You did it," he said, his eyes gleaming with pride. "You saw beyond the veil." "But what now?" Sarah asked, her voice trembling with a mix of excitement and fear. "How do we fight them?" Ezekiel's expression turned serious. "We build an army of awakened souls. The Archon's power lies in keeping humanity asleep. Every person who wakes up weakens their control." As if on cue, the warehouse door creaked open. Sarah tensed, ready to run, but instead of suited men, a diverse group of individuals entered. Their eyes shone with the same awareness Sarah now felt. "Meet the Guardians," Ezekiel said, gesturing to the group. "Like you, they've seen through the illusion. Each has a role to play in our cosmic jailbreak." A tall woman with intricate tattoos stepped forward. "I'm Maya," she said, her voice carrying the wisdom of ages. "I interpret the hidden messages in ancient texts and art. The Archons couldn't erase all traces of truth." Next, a young man with a mischievous grin introduced himself. "Call me Cypher," he said, tapping his temple. "I hack their systems, both technological and psychic. You'd be surprised how much of our world runs on outdated cosmic code." One by one, the Guardians share their stories and skills. A healer who could mend the spiritual wounds inflicted by the Archons. A dreamwalker who fought them in the subconscious realm. A former priest who had discovered the hidden truths within religious texts. As Sarah listened, she felt a sense of belonging she'd never experienced before. These were her people, fellow seekers of truth, in a world of illusions. Ezekiel cleared his throat, drawing everyone's attention. "The Archons will not take this lightly," he warned. "They'll try to discredit us, isolate us, make us doubt our own minds. Our greatest weapon is unity and unwavering faith in the truth we've glimpsed." Sarah stepped forward, surprising herself with her own confidence. "We need to wake more people up," she said. "Spread the knowledge, create more cracks in their system." The Guardians nodded in agreement, their faces set with determination. "It won't be easy," Ezekiel cautioned. "The path to true freedom is fraught with challenges. Many will resist, preferring the comfort of illusion to the responsibility of truth." Sarah looked around at her new allies, feeling a surge of hope. "Then we'll face those challenges together," she said. "It's time to break out of this cosmic prison, not just for ourselves, but for all of humanity." As the Guardians began to plan their next move, Sarah knew that her life would never be the same. The battle against the Archons had begun, and the fate of human consciousness hung in the balance. The following weeks were a whirlwind of activity for Sarah and the Guardians. They moved from city to city, always one step ahead of the Archon's agents, spreading their message of awakening. Sarah found herself standing before a packed auditorium in Chicago, her heart racing as she prepared to address the crowd. The book, now a constant companion, hummed with energy in her hands. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, her voice steady despite her nerves, "what if I told you that everything you know about reality is a carefully constructed lie?" A murmur rippled through the audience. Sarah could feel the Archon's influence pushing back, trying to cloud minds with doubt and disbelief. But she pressed on, her inner light growing stronger with each word. "We live in a world shaped by forces beyond our comprehension," she continued. "But that doesn't mean we're powerless. Each of us carries a spark of divine truth, a key to our own liberation." As she spoke, Sarah noticed subtle changes in the audience. Eyes widened with recognition, postures straightened as if shaking off an invisible weight. The cracks in the veil were spreading. Suddenly, the lights flickered. A low hum filled the air, and Sarah could sense the Archon's presence growing stronger. They were making their move. "Don't be afraid," she urged the crowd, even as whispers of panic began to rise. "This is what awakening feels like. Embrace the discomfort. It's the sound of your cosmic shackles breaking." The back doors burst open, and suited figures strode in. But this time, Sarah was ready. She locked eyes with Maya, who began chanting in an ancient tongue. Cypher's fingers flew across his laptop, disrupting the Archon's energy fields. As the battle raged, both seen and unseen, Sarah realized that this was more than just a fight against cosmic prison wardens. It was humanity's struggle to reclaim its birthright of freedom and self-determination. "Remember who you are," she shouted above the chaos. "You are not just flesh and bone, but infinite consciousness temporarily housed in human form. The Archons have no power over your true self." A blinding light filled the auditorium, and for a moment, everyone present glimpsed the truth of their existence. The suited figures howled in frustration as their forms dissipated, unable to maintain their illusion in the face of mass awakening. As the light faded, Sarah looked out at the audience. Tears streamed down faces, strangers embraced, and a palpable sense of liberation filled the air. She knew that not everyone would remember this moment with perfect clarity, but the seed of truth had been planted. Ezekiel appeared at her side, his eyes shining with pride and hope. "Well done, Sarah," he said softly. "This is just the beginning, but it's a powerful one." Sarah nodded, feeling both exhausted and exhilarated. "What's our next move?" she asked. Ezekiel smiled mysteriously. "The Archons are weakened, but not defeated. Our journey takes us deeper now, into the very heart of their cosmic machinery." As they left the auditorium, Sarah felt a profound shift in the world around her. The veil was thinning, reality itself seeming more fluid and full of possibility. She knew the road ahead would be challenging, filled with trials and revelations beyond imagination. But for the first time since this journey began, Sarah felt truly ready. The cosmic prison break was underway, and humanity's awakening had only just begun.